What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben Johnson, and today we're taking a look at what's inside my camera bag. Before we dive into the camera bag, I want to give you guys a little bit of context as to why I have what I have. For those of you that don't know, my wife and I run a wedding photo video company called Love You Weddings. In addition to that, we also do freelancing and have some other social media clients that we work with regularly. If I had to define my style of workflow and sort of like what I do as a content creator, it's very much a live event videographer, photographer, very run and gun style. I remember when I was first starting out, I had like a huge bag for my drone. I had a case for my stabilizer, another case for lights, another case for audio, a bag for my camera and my lenses, and it was a lot. It was like I couldn't carry it all in one trip. So over the past years, I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to upgrade my gear while also downgrading the footprint so that it was very efficient, and I was able to take these 5 or 6 bags and condense it into one camera bag. This is a Think Tank camera bag. I absolutely love this bag. It has been with me for years. I've put this thing through the ringer. I have done a ton of different stuff with this, and it has held up very well. One of the reasons I went with this bag is because I knew I would be traveling a lot for my work, and that included flying. And I wanted something that would be able to fit into the overhead compartment on planes and be regulation size. And this bag is just that. It will allow me to bring it with me on the plane because I didn't want to have to leave all of this expensive gear in the hands of someone else. I wanted to be able to have my eye on it and make sure that I was the one who was handling it. Let me just spin it around here for you guys. Taking a look at the straps, they're padded, which is really nice. The back right here is padded, which is really comfortable. It's got D-rings here so you can clamp stuff to it. It's got a buckle here, so if you're going on a longer trek, like maybe you're hiking, you can actually buckle it to yourself. It kind of helps with the weight, and so that's really nice. I also love that this has a top handle as well as a side handle. The double handles make it really easy to maneuver the bag around. Also, it has a little slot right here for a tripod. Typically, I will put my water bottle in this, but it is really nice that it has it. Up there at the top, it has a little slot where I typically put business cards, which a lot of times if I'm at weddings, I may be connecting with a vendor or another guest, and I can just easily go and grab a little business card and hand it to them. Near the top handle is another zipper pocket. In this, I like to keep tape, which is really handy on shoots just to be able to tape something, as well as a knife. You just never know when you need to cut something. It's also a little bit of self-defense if you ever need it. So, always good to have. And what else is in here? A protein bar. Yes, I always love to bring protein bars with me, especially, shooting 8 to 10 hour days with weddings. It's always good just to have some extra food. I'm no fun when I'm hangry, so I always like to bring a little bit of food with me. Also, this is pretty cool. On the zipper itself, I have this little tiny light, which is really good when I'm shooting like out in the dark if there's no lights around, or maybe it's a really dark reception. I have this little tiny light that I can turn on and just kind of see what I'm doing. So that's really good. All right, let's get into the bag. All right, the first thing we're gonna talk about is my main camera, which is the Sony a7 III. Right now I have an 85mm lens on it, and that's one of the things I love about this bag is that I can actually keep multiple camera bodies with lenses attached to them inside of the bag. This makes it really easy when I show up onto a shoot, I can just pull the camera out and I'm ready to go. Next up is a secondary camera, which is my Sony a6300 with a cage on it, as well as a Sony 18-105 lens. A lot of times at weddings, we'll have a second shooter who is operating this. It's always good to have a backup camera on your shoots. And moving along to our third camera with a lens in this bag is actually this one here. It's another Sony a6300 on a gimbal. Attached to the setup is a tiny little 20mm 2.8 lens with a wide angle converter. And I did this because it's a very lightweight setup. And when you're doing long shoot days, it's just nice to have a lighter gimbal setup. So I love this thing, and I love that it can fit in my bag nice and compact. And the fourth camera we're gonna be talking about that's in this bag is actually my drone. The drone that I use for all of my work is the DJI Mavic Pro. I love this thing. I love that it's foldable. I love that it's powerful. I love that it has 4K image capabilities. It looks great, it's easy to use, and it's easy to bring with me. Right next to it in the bag, I also have the controller. All right, now let's talk about lighting. The lights that I bring with me on all of my shoots are these Felix P100 brick lights. I love these things because they are super bright and they're color temperature adjustable, as well as dimmable, and they're battery powered. This is awesome for me because then when I show up at receptions and I need to light up the room, I can put a couple of these on light stands, and I don't need to worry about having long cables. I don't need to worry about being near an outlet, especially if the wedding could just be outside somewhere. You never know. So it's awesome to be able to have something like this where I can get a lot of light and have it very easily portable and accessible. I have 3 of these in my bag. And another nifty little light that I have is the Aperture MC. Not only is this color temperature adjustable and dimmable, but it's also full RGB. I love that I have a nice little compact RGB light that I can bring with me anywhere. It's really small, it's really bright. What I like to do at weddings with this is actually mount this to my gimbal so that I can roam around, have some light right in front of me when I need it. So if I'm shooting in a reception and the light is really warm, there's light bulbs everywhere or whatever's going on, I can make this light match that as well as my other lights. So it's great to have this kind of customization on the go. All right, now let's talk about audio. I always bring this Zoom H6 audio recorder with me. I actually kind of call this the Swiss Army knife of audio recorders. You can mount different types of mics to the top of it, whether that's environmental mics or shotgun style mics. And you can also run this as an interface, and you can run 1/4 inch or XLR inputs into it. So there's a lot that this thing can do. I always bring this with me to weddings so that I can get audio from the board. I put a little shotgun style mic on this, and it's what I use to record most of my YouTube videos. All right, so now we're moving up to these 3 zipper pockets, and in the top one, continuing with our audio, is where I keep my Tascam DR10Ls. These things are awesome. I absolutely love them. They are not your typical wireless transmitter receiver. These are actually just straight up a pack that you plug in a lapel mic to, and it records onto a micro SD card within the unit. I'm actually using one for this video right now, but on wedding days and on shoot days, I typically bring 2 with me. All in all, I love this. It's great for vlogs, it's great for on-the-go shooting, it's great for interviews, and I would highly recommend this unit out of all of the lapel type situations that I've tried out. All right, moving on to our middle zipper pocket, we just have some battery chargers. When we're on the go, it's always good to have a couple of battery chargers, and I've got some AA and AAA batteries. And if you're in the market for rechargeable batteries, I love the Eneloop brand. These things last a long time. They last through a lot of recharges, and they're very strong. So definitely recommend Eneloop rechargeable batteries. And in this last little zipper pocket, I have a couple of body caps and lens caps. All right, that wraps up the main compartment. Now we're going to talk about a few of the outside pockets. Inside of this very outer pocket is where I keep all of my audio cables. I always bring an XLR, a 1/4 inch, and an RCA 2/4 inch cable. This way I'm able to work with whatever the DJ has or whatever type of soundboard or speaker I have. They're pretty much always gonna have an output for XLR, quarter inch, or RCA, and I will run these cables into that audio recorder that I mentioned earlier. And on to our final pocket. This actually has a sleeve for a laptop and an iPad, which I will utilize sometimes if we're going on longer trips. But most of the time on shoots, I don't bring my computer with me, and I maximize this space with other stuff. So I'll usually bring a GoPro with me, and this is one of my favorite GoPro mounts. This is actually the 3-way mount, and it's really versatile because it acts as like a selfie stick / just a longer reaching arm. And you can unscrew this little bottom mount and get some tripod legs, which is really cool. And you can actually mount the GoPro to just these little legs if you want to get interesting low to the ground shots. I find this really useful because a lot of times at weddings, I'll go set up the GoPro somewhere to, time lapse a sunset or a city or something while I'm out shooting other stuff. Then I'll come back and grab it. So it's really nice to have different options for wherever my creativity takes me. And we also have the GoPro Jaw Flex mount, whatever it's called. This thing is awesome. A lot of times I will use this as a safety shot during ceremonies. And I've done really interesting stuff with this where at live events, I've clipped this to someone's guitar, or I've clipped it to a drum cage, or gotten time lapses of arenas and all types of stuff. So this is a really useful mount. If you have a GoPro, you should definitely have one of these because it allows you to mount it in a ton of different spots, and it's really, really fun to use. And what else do we have? A drone battery. We have an extra drone battery in there. Always good to have an extra one. And okay, yeah, so this little thing, this is a hot shoe to quarter inch adapter. What this allows me to do is actually mount stuff to my camera. So I can put this on the hot shoe of the camera, and then I could mount something like that Aperture MC to the top so that I'm able to run around with light, or I could mount, a microphone or whatever I need to onto my camera. And I think this is the last thing. Yep. So this is actually the single handle mount for my gimbal. The gimbal is awesome because I can do this single handle mount or that dual handle mount. Both work with it. The single handle is cool because it has little tripod legs, which I can easily set it down somewhere. But the main reason I bring this with me is because it has extra batteries in it. I usually don't use the single handle grip, but it's nice to have the option if I want to. All right, so that pretty much wraps up what's inside my main bag. But in full disclosure, I do also bring a lens bag and a tripod bag with me on pretty much every shoot. When I was looking for lens bags, I tried out a couple of them, and what I found was that a lot of them kind of protrude outside of your body a lot. So if you want to wear it while you're shooting, it just would get in the way. That was until I found the Shoot Sack bag. I love this bag. It is made out of some sort of a neoprene material, but what I really like about it is that it hugs really close to the body, and so you can maneuver around people and objects while you're shooting. Like if I'm using the gimbal, I don't feel like it's really obtruding my movement. So inside of that lens bag, I usually have a 70-200 lens. Yes, a 70-200 lens. That's a very big lens, and it will fit inside this bag. I also will have a 50mm lens, a vintage 50mm lens, a macro adapter, and sometimes something like a 24-70. And in addition to all of those lenses, I will also carry a prism, I will carry batteries, and I will carry an SD card case, all within that lens bag. It looks like it's pretty small, pretty slim, but it can fit a lot in it. And the last thing that I bring with me is my tripod bag. If you are shooting client work, if you are going to locations, if you are bringing stuff with you, I would highly recommend getting a tripod bag. And this tripod bag by Tenba is my top recommendation. This thing has been through it all. It has been on top of mountains. It has gone through rain, through snow, through sand, through clay, through dirt, through tropical storms. It's been through everything, and it is held up so well. Inside of this bag, I usually will bring 3 tripods, a monopod, and 3 light stands, as well as some clear umbrellas. Oh, and one more pro tip I wanted to share with you guys. If you're shooting with multiple camera bodies and you're putting those camera bodies on multiple things like tripods, monopods, gimbals, sliders, definitely get a tripod plate adapter. This will allow you to put your camera on all of those different objects without having to take off different base plates. That can take up so much time, it takes up so much energy, it's so annoying. If you just get tripod plate adapters, then you can easily and quickly release your camera from one thing and put it onto another without having to fiddle with the plate. All right, everybody, well, that pretty much wraps up what's inside my camera bag, or camera bags, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different, but I just wanted to share this stuff with you guys, let you know what gear I use on my paid client gigs, and kind of give you guys a little bit of a look into what my workflow is and what type of content I make. If you are interested in any of the gear that I talked about, whether that was the bag or anything in it, I've placed a ton of links down in the video description as a resource for you. Before you guys leave, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and as always, stay creative. Peace.